This is our final and incredibly special moment. Each year, we offer one person a Lifetime Achievement Award. This was first presented back in 2017 to Ato Girma Wake, and it honors an outstanding contribution to route development in Africa. And many of you, if not all of you, will know Ato Girma because, of course, he is our patron here at AviaDev. He was there, believed in us when he was serving as chairman of Rwanda. He's had a few roles. I first met Girma when he was just a young man. He was barely 70, I think, at the time that I met him. He's 83 years old next week. His warmth, his support, and his encouragement for AviaDev and for me personally has been fundamental in building this platform, and I think there are many other people in the room and in the industry that could say the same thing. But you might have noticed something. He's missing. So if you're wondering where he is, you might want to have a chat with the Boeing guys, because he might have been busy this week. And you probably saw some news yesterday, but that's all I'm going to say on that, because I don't believe there's been a press release yet. And don't fret, because he was able to record a little video. But before we do that, I would like to invite our winner for this year, Mr. Aaron Munetsi, the CEO of AASA, the Airlines Association of Southern Africa, to join me on stage. And we have lots of surprises for this man. Oh, here we go. It's already started. So on a personal note, the first ever panel session I did, I was petrified, was at an UNWTO event, the first one I ever did in Madrid in 2013, and this guy was at SAA, and he was my panelist, and he gave me the hardest time, and I thought, I don't want to do this as a career, what am I doing? But no, he's been amazing. We actually went to the same university. We've known each other for years, and I'm here to obviously represent Girma. We've got some surprises for you, Aaron. So I think we're going to start, as we sit, with an opening from Ato Girma.
Hello, Aaron. Congratulations for winning this year's award. It is not by accident that you won this award. You put a lot of years in the aviation industry in the past 20 years or so, and you have made valuable contribution to the industry in Southern Africa. It is in recognition of this that the committee picked you up for this year's award. You are a very deserving professional for this award, and congratulations for winning it. Before I pass this to Jon, I would like to ask you one question. And that question is, you have been serving in the airline industry in a very respected airline for many years, and now you are serving an association as the CEO of the Association of Southern African Airlines. What is the difference between working in one airline and fulfilling the requirements of that airline, and running an association of many airlines who have varied interests, varied priorities? How do you bring them together, and how do you serve them in an atmosphere where there is this rage of competition? Good luck with your work, and congratulations for winning this award. I pass you over to Jon.
Okay, so before you answer that question, because that's an industry-based, and a lot of the questions and the talking points we're going to have are more about life, but I may have been in contact with your wonderful wife, Anita. So there may be, as you give your answer to that, some nice surprises on the screen as you talk us through. So please answer the question.
Wow, so I think for me, having worked for one airline for almost 34 years, and now serving various airlines, 16 airlines in total as the CEO of South African Airways, there is almost a continuity. At South African Airways, by the time I left as acting chief commercial officer, I had worked as the go-to guy for the Africa region. And my role was to bring everybody, irrespective of whether they were competing with us or not, to bring them along and make sure that we don't succeed alone as South African Airways. So that sort of complementarity aspect that said to me, in as much as we are the biggest airline, we're the most successful airline, I never ever wanted to be alone. I wanted to make sure that as we grew bigger, we also brought our own African airlines along with us. And now that I am at the association, I think the continuity is almost congruent in that I bring along the idea of everybody is equal, no matter how small or big they are. I remember not so long ago having a conversation with Tewelde Gebremariam, and Tewelde was saying, Aaron, you know what, when we go to these associations, AFRA, AASA, I think the bigger airlines must have more say than the smaller airlines. And I said to him, never, not under my watch. No matter how small they are, no matter how big they are, everybody must have the same word. So I don't think I have any different approach in terms of what I'm doing now at AASA and what I was doing at South African Airways.
So you had a very similar, you think it's a nice fit because that's what you've always preached, absolutely. Okay, so we have somebody else who put a little note together for you too. So let's play that video.
Who's that?
It is my great honor to congratulate Mr. Aaron Munetsi, CEO of the Airlines Association of Southern Africa, on receiving the prestigious Ato Girma Wake Lifetime Achievement Award. This well-deserved recognition reflects your outstanding contributions to the development of African aviation. Through your decades of industry experience, expertise, leadership, and commitment, you have made a lasting impact on the aviation industry across Africa and beyond. Your advocacy to collaboration and teamwork has inspired many professionals throughout the industry, and your achievements contribute to serve as an example for future aviation leaders. This award is a testament for your remarkable accomplishment and invaluable contribution to the growth of African aviation. Once again, congratulations on this significant honor. I wish you continued success and many more achievements in the years ahead.
So for those of you who weren't with us last year, Ato Mesfin won the award last year, as you can tell. So it's almost a surprise is over. So I want to talk about philosophy. You love a quote. You love to stand. You're welcome to run around, do whatever you want, Aaron. It's your stage. But look, nearly 4 decades, 12 countries, countless deals, countless conversations, hundreds of events. But if you strip the titles away, what's the one principle that's guided like your approach to life and how you treat people? Because I think if you put your hand up in here, if Aaron in some way has made a positive impact in your life, there's so many people that would raise their hands. Look at that. It's incredible, Aaron. So what's your life philosophy?
I'm surprised there's only a few hands there, but anyway.
He's a bit disappointed, guys. Come on.
I think first and foremost, John, it has to do with being who I am. I never aspired to be anybody else. I'm very comfortable in my own skin. And I am very comfortable in people not liking me.
We can tell you're comfortable in your own skin. Some of these pictures, some questionable shirts there, Aaron, I gotta say.
So I never went out to try and impress anybody. I just went out there and tried to live my life the best I can and do the best that I can with what I have. So in that regard, John, it never had maybe a point where I said I want to be this. But on the other hand, I had a lot of things that I never wanted to be. I never wanted to be somebody who anyone would say, he has made me a better person. I've always said I want to be somebody who somebody can say, I can work and live and laugh and cry with this person. The second thing I never wanted to be known. I'm a shy and quiet person. So.
Are you sure? Okay.
John, this crowd here is very naughty. These guys are my good friends, so I'm going to face this side. So,
well, you're not facing me, so that's fine.
So for me, it has always been about being able to say what I need to say without feeling any remorse. And if I made somebody upset, so be it. But if something had to be said, I would say it. Whether it was my seniors or my juniors, well, not my wife, but anyone, whoever needed to hear anything from me, I would say it. So I think I also had that option of saying, I don't want to be somebody who is a copycat. I just needed to be myself. So when I go to places, I just reflect and become myself.
Yeah, well, that's great. I mean, you know, there's something about you can escape competition through authenticity. And I have a 9-year-old daughter, and I want her superpower to be self-confidence, self-awareness, and just to be comfortable in your own skin, which is so difficult in the world that we live in today. So let's talk about your early years. You were actually born in Zimbabwe, and then you carried that approach across the continent. So talk about your parents. You know, what did your parents or your upbringing, the family that were around, what did they instill in you that you're still using today? What's the essence of the Munetsis?
I think the one thing I learned from my mother was that if you break the family rules, I'll beat you. And she'd not beat you with a stick or anything. She'll beat you with her words. And the words were so impactful that she actually taught us that whatever word you use, you must be able to carry it on your shoulders for everybody to see. So I think that principle for me has always been something that I share. But from my father's side, my father always said, if you are going to be something worthwhile in your life, it has to be something that you cannot hide from anybody else. Having been born and brought up in a very difficult time in Zimbabwe, my eldest brother left home at the age of 16 to join the liberation struggle. And I think that sort of influenced my father to be protective, but at the same time, he never wanted to be the one that mollycoddled me. So he always said, at some stage in your life, you are going to have to take decisions without having to refer to me. So today, I can say I make a lot of decisions without referring to anybody, at the chagrin of my bosses sometimes, at my wife's chagrin as well. But I'm very comfortable making decisions. And my dad was a businessman, and he taught me the work ethic from a very early age. He had petrol stations, he had butcheries, supermarkets. And I will never forget the day that he said to me, this particular unit is not doing well. You are now 15 years old. I want you to be responsible for this unit. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to go there and fire 4 people out of the 7 that work there. I think it was brutal, but I think it was also educational because then I had no option. I was given the marching orders. I had to go and do what I needed to do. John, up to today, I can tell you I've dismissed people, and what surprises me is that most of the people, in fact, all of the people that I've dismissed are now my very good friends.
It's a small world. It's a small world.
So I think for me, it was just that principle of being able to do something, but doing it in a human way, in a decent way, and make that other person feel as decent as they can be.
Absolutely. So you talked about your early days, but your career and being able to do this, we're seeing some pictures of your beautiful family. You know, it's very rarely to have a career like this. It's not a solo flight. It's something where you need a co-pilot, you need some crew, and you've got plenty of crew because Anita and 5 children watch you spend a lot of your life sitting in airports, other countries, big dreams. What have they taught you? And what did you have to learn about being present for them?
I think the one thing that I've learned is from Anita. Anita is a very focused person.
Where is she? Anita, where are you? All right, there she is. There's Anita. Round of applause for Anita for putting up with Aaron. Well done.
Anita is a very focused person, so she doesn't like doing things willy-nilly. So she has taught me over the years that when we make a plan, we stick to the plan. Never mind that I'd learned this at school and at work, but as a family, if we make a plan, we stick to the plan. And the other thing she taught me, and this one is a big one, John, Anita taught me about discipline. Not only disciplining me, but disciplining the kids through me. So if, for example, she found that I'm uncomfortable with disciplining one of the kids, she would actually sit me down and say, this is what needs to happen, because you are the head of the family, and I can do it myself, but I think it's important that you as the father do this. And for me, it has actually been a blessing to see our children all inculcate that in their own personalities, to the extent that when they want to hide something from me, they go to their mother. And she doesn't hide the fact that they came to her. She still says, because they respect you, they actually come to me so that I can do a soft landing for them. So I think from Anita, I learned a lot. I'm still learning a lot. She actually taught me how to color code my clothes. From the children, they are disparate. They are all over the place. So I think one thing I've learned from especially the boys is that they need their independence. They need to be themselves. The only thing they also want me to be is to be myself, but not to embarrass them, especially when I try and dance. They know I can't dance.
I was hoping you were going to give us a...
The girls, I think they are, for some reason, much closer to me in that they share their emotions. And they've taught me also to understand that as a father, I can only be as protective as I can. After that, they have to go and face the wild animals that are out there. So all three of the girls are married, and I don't know if I'm friends with their husbands, but I can tell you now that we have a good relationship with the husbands. I think one or two of them are afraid of me, but they still respect, and we still enjoy each other's company. And as a total family, John, I have learned one thing, and if anything, I would like to share this with the colleagues here, that a family stands on its principles. And those principles can be as simple as what do you do when things are tough? And they can be as complicated as what do we do when we want to eat together and we don't have the same taste. In between, you find that it's almost impossible to be a vegetarian in between meals. You have to continue to think about yourself as part of a family, as part of a community, because when my children go out there, they are not only representing me, they are representing my wife, they are representing our community as well as our country. So I think for me, those lessons are lessons that I would like to carry with me wherever I'm going to go next, depending on what you tell me to do.
I think we need to talk about the next generation, because it fits so nicely into the session we just had. Because you've spent years quietly, often, just investing in young people, pointing them in the right direction, and it can't be underestimated. You know, I say to people who are looking for mentorship, I'll do 1%, but you've got to do 99. It's not a 50-50. It's, you know, we want to see that you're putting the work in. You're not just going to be shown where to go. So when the next generation asks what your life was really about, what do you hope they would say, and what advice have you got for this next generation? You heard some of the challenges that they're dealing with. They're saying, don't look for experience in people who haven't had the opportunity to gain the experience. What's your advice to them?
So, John, I think the first thing I want to tell the future, the so-called future generation, is that there's nothing special about you.
Tough love.
Yeah, that's just how life is. There's nothing special about you. We also came from an era where we were the future generation. Our parents came from a state where they were also future generations. So there's nothing special about you. However, what you now need to do is to realize that you live in a different world. And that different world calls for different discipline and discipline focus from yourselves. and you are alone. Nobody's going to come and help you. Just like it happened to us. We were alone. Nobody came to help us. I think it's important for us not to mollycoddle this new future generation, Gen Z, Gen Y, Gen Apple, whatever you want to call them. I think it's important for them to know that this world that we're living in actually is the same world that we all grew up in, and their children are going to grow up in. The most important thing is for them to be disciplined, John. They have to have the discipline to be able to do the best that they can do and do a decent way of life that actually makes their life better for the next generation. I don't want to make them believe I don't want to make them believe that the next generation is going to depend on them. The next generation depends on themselves, just like they are going to depend on themselves, just like we did ourselves.
Fantastic. Now, a very special friend of yours has made a very special journey here. I can see her right in the middle. And I'd like to get a mic to Achma, because I know she wanted to say a few words. We've got a couple of minutes. I'd love for Achma. It's going to come to you, Achma, if you just stand up. So introduce yourself and talk to Aaron and tell us they're coming over now with the mic. Because I know you've come a long way and you've just got in, so.
Hi everybody. I'm Achma from Airline Pros, but I'm not here as Airline Pros. I'm here as a friend of Aaron's, and I came here to celebrate a well-deserved Lifetime Achievement Award. More than that, I also want to say we in Africa are very shy about recognizing talent. And one of the things that I have to really thank Jon for is setting up a stage where we can do something like this. Thank you, Jon, for that. Secondly, I know Lifetime Achievement Awards are a great thing and you deserve every bit of it. But I don't want us to stop there. You know there's a saying about a bull in a china shop. So I believe, Aaron, you're the bull in Africa. You are the person who can speak the unspeakable. You are the person who challenges the status quo, and we need you. So life carries on, and may God give you the strength and the resolve to carry on your productive journey into the future. Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you, Achma. Thank you. So we're gonna close up, but I think it's really important that you provide some reflections on your interactions with Ato Girma. This award carries his name. I think just a brief word about how he's shaped who you are and your interactions over the years.
Achma, thanks very much for that.
Just before you, I have a little gift out there for you.
We can present that at the end, don't worry.
Okay,
we will.
perfect.
Thank you, though, Achma.
I just wanted to say something, Achma. Thanks for those words. I think, John, the other panel, Namsha and Edmund were talking here with Captain Kibe. Colleagues, don't be fooled. Don't be fooled by what you hear from others. We as Africans have what it takes. I can tell you, Namsha, when we started with the Yamoussoukro decision, the Europeans were fast asleep. Fast asleep. Namsha, by the way, it's not even 10 years that it took them to do Article 1, 2, and 3. They are still at it today. Edmund, let me tell you something. If you don't act now to save your airline, you are dead. If you don't act now. If those people that signed the paper to allow you to come here don't hear from you how frustrated you are, I can tell you now, you are dead. I've worked with a lot of airlines, I can tell you, because the senior management were not comfortable to tell their bosses of the discomfort they had, they never did what they did. Achma, this is where you are saying I'm a bully in a China shop. I can tell you, I've sat with a minister and a president on the continent, and I've told them, Mr. President, because you are the one who is going to receive a 787-800, your airline is not going anywhere. Where is the chief commercial officer when you are receiving the 787? Let's reflect on what you said. So here's the thing, John. I think the future, as far as I'm concerned, maybe has to do with what Ato Girma taught me. And by the way, I want to teach you to say Girma, not Girma.
Okay.
Girma. So Ato Girma was at Gulf Air, and I had just been posted to Dubai. So I think in the interactions with the colleague who was the Ethiopian Airlines country manager, he got to know that for the first time South African Airways has a black manager in town. He actually made a personal trip from Bahrain to come and see me. Those days there was no cell phone, there was no what, I think the best we had was a fax. But anyway, they found their way to my office, and the first thing he said to me is, what time do you go for lunch? I said, well, I don't go to lunch, but my staff go to lunch. He says, there's a restaurant I want us to go to lunch. Cut a long story short, he took me to an Indian restaurant. I was surprised, Ethiopian Indian restaurant, but the idea for him was, look, I wanted us to be here where we are just going to be alone without people interrupting with us. I want you to know one thing, you are not representing only South Africa or South African Airways. We are now 2 or 3 of us in this country, in this region, representing the whole region. So whatever you do, make sure that you realize you are representing the whole continent. That was the first thing. The second thing he said to me is, so I want you to know, Aaron, that the things that you have learned at school and at South African Airways are very important, but here, in this market, the one thing that you must know is for you to survive, cooperation and collaboration with other African airlines is the only way you can succeed. At that time, he was looking after cargo at Gulf Air. He says, so what I'm going to do is, when I get back to Bahrain, I'm going to make sure that most of the cargo that we used to take to Europe and take to Africa is going to come with you. That time we were flying 767s. He says, we're going to bring that cargo into Dubai. All I want you to do is make sure that you don't cut the rates, but give me the proper rates and make sure that I've got space. Those two things, John, have stuck with me up to today. I have never considered any other airline as a competitor. I've considered them as being in the same market as I am, and I just have to be better than them. If there's a way that I can help them to actually achieve their results, I'll do that, as long as I'm not going behind or going against what my own organization taught me. So collaboration and cooperation was the first thing he taught me. Many years later, I was now based in Senegal, and we were doing the first ever African collaboration between an African airline and an African government, flying from Senegal to New York. From nowhere, Ato Girma appears, and he says to me, no, he was actually in Burkina Faso, and he heard through the news that this was going to happen, and he wanted to come and say, Aaron, remember, when you are going to New York from Senegal, you are not doing this for Senegal or for South Africa. You are doing this for the African market. Here is my advice to you. Make sure you appoint travel agents and GSAs in America that understand how to serve the African market. He actually gave me a business card for somebody who eventually took me to Turba, the biggest migration, religious migration in Africa. I don't know how many of my colleagues know it. He actually gave me the business card and said, call this person in New York, and I can assure you, you will see the results. And for sure, John, for as long as we operated every year without fail during the migration, we would carry 20, 30,000 people coming out of New York. So I think for me, those two lessons were so important to the extent that going forward, that's what I want to continuously do to my colleagues and give them advice, give them some indication of what they can do to make life easier for themselves and to succeed in whatever objectives they have.
Amazing, amazing. Yeah, you'll never shy away from the debate. You'll always turn up. Thank you. Yeah, big round of applause. And I think that's what's always stuck, is you're willing to have that conversation and you have this philosophy. So we're going to do the award presentation now, but as you've already alluded to, you didn't do this on your own. So Marla has the award, obviously in absentia of Ato Girma. And I think you couldn't have done it without Anita. So Anita, you need to be in the picture. Come on the stage with Aaron. Marla? We'll get a picture on runway 26, but come on, Anita. Big round of applause for Anita. Oh. Okay. Okay. Yeah, you too. You share. Oh, okay. One more.